Does this lush green field of industrial hemp look healthy to you? I mean, the stems are perfectly straight, the leaves have this incredibly rich color, and the rows are just absolutely pristine. If you're a traditional farmer visually inspecting your crop, you'd probably breathe a huge sigh of relief and say, "Yep, everything's perfect." But what if I told you your eyes are totally deceiving you, and right at this very second, there's an invisible war raging across this field? The crazy twist here is that beneath this flawless emerald green facade, severe nitrogen starvation is secretly taking over. While the tops of the plants are just basking in the sun, that lower layer, it's already dying off. And this silent killer can literally wipe out 15 to 20% of your future yield before you even spot a single yellow leaf. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into how 2026-era drone technology and AI have completely rewritten the rules of agriculture. We're going to see exactly how growing industrial hemp has evolved from an intuitive, kind of guessing game style of farming into a hyper-precise mathematical science, one where we rely on light waves and algorithms instead of just our eyes. Let's take a quick look at our agenda. We'll start with a green field illusion, then move into seeing the invisible with spectral sensors, building a digital twin, pinpointing the exact harvest time, and wrap up with the economics and ecology of all this data. All right, Section 1, the green field illusion. Let's get right into it. 14 days. That is how long physiological stress silently ravages a plant deep inside those massive 3-meter-high canopies before any visible signs like chlorosis or leaf deformity show up. That's 2 whole weeks of hidden disease or starvation that an agronomist wouldn't even suspect just by looking at those vibrant green tops. It really comes down to this. The human eye has some pretty hard biological limits. We only perceive the visible spectrum and mostly just reflected green light. But 2026 generation drones, they're basically flying laboratories. They capture data across 5, sometimes even 12 spectral bands all at once, using laser scanning and thermal imaging with sub-centimeter resolution. It's wild. I absolutely love this analogy from our sources because it hits the nail on the head regarding this massive technological leap. A standard RGB camera, the kind that takes pretty overhead farm photos, is basically just a thermometer. It just tells you if the field is green and healthy or already yellow and sick. But a multispectral sensor, that is a comprehensive blood test. It reveals hidden cellular level processes way before any physical symptoms ever appear. Moving on to Section 2, seeing the invisible with spectral sensors. The real magic here happens in a zone called the red edge. We're talking about a super narrow band of light waves, right between 700 and 740 nanometers, where light absorption by chlorophyll sharply shifts to reflection. When hemp starts running out of nitrogen, the reflection in this specific zone changes instantly. So it acts as our ultimate early warning system, tripping the alarms long before the plant physically turns yellow. Now, you might be familiar with the old NDVI index. A lot of farmers know it well. But here's the thing, for dense crops like hemp, it's pretty much obsolete. Once the canopy gets too thick, NDVI just sort of goes blind or saturates. To it, everything just looks like one giant green block. So we've had to pivot to the NDRE index, which uses that red edge we just talked about. It actually penetrates those thick, dense layers of leaves to uncover nutrient deficits all the way down in the lowest parts of the plant. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, in a completely automated workflow, the drone gathers the raw data, and then AI instantly whips up an NDRE stress map. The field gets carved up into these tiny microzones, and instead of just blindly drenching the entire farm in chemicals, smart machinery comes in and targets the fertilizer exactly and only where the plants actually need it. And the results? Honestly, they're fantastic. By only spraying the exact spots flagged by the drone, farmers are seeing up to a 28% drop in nitrogen fertilizer use, all while actually boosting yields. I mean, that's a direct win for the wallet and a massive win for the environment. All right, let's jump into Section 3, creating a digital twin. Okay, so to truly gauge crop volume, just looking at color or spectral data isn't going to cut it. We need actual 3-dimensional geometry, and that is exactly where LiDAR steps in. This tech fires off hundreds of thousands of laser pulses every single second, literally punching through the thick hemp leaves right down to the soil. It precisely measures the height of every single stem to build a flawless 3D model of the entire field. Which brings us to this absolutely crucial formula. When we mash up that spatial laser geometry with our spectral plant health data, we create what's known as a digital twin. It's basically a living mathematical 3D clone of your field that gets updated every single time a drone flies over. The agronomist isn't just guessing anymore. They are tracking the exact real-time dynamics of how that biomass is growing. Now for Section 4, Precision Harvest Timing. If you're growing hemp for seeds or medical use, missing your harvest window by even a couple of days can totally ruin the quality. But get this, 2026 algorithms can actually analyze the microtexture of the flowers straight from the air. Even cooler, thermal cameras pick up these tiny temperature spikes, what they call metabolic heat islands. See, the plant literally warms up just a tiny bit when it hits peak ripeness. The system catches that and shoots you an alert a week before the absolute perfect moment to harvest. By feeding all these terabytes of data into neural networks, we can actually see the future. We can predict the final yield of dry fiber with an incredibly low error rate of just 8 to 10%, and seeds around 12 to 15%. And we're talking months before the actual harvest. You can imagine how much of a game changer that is for planning, logistics, and sales. Finally, let's bring it all together in Section 5, the economics and ecology of data. Honestly, the numbers here speak louder than words, and they are kind of shocking. If you're still relying on the old school calendar method for your harvest, you are leaving serious money on the table. Being just 10 days late can cause valuable compounds to degrade, costing you up to 600 euros per hectare in losses. And jumping the gun to harvest early, that slaps you with a massive financial penalty too. On the flip side, running your field strictly by the numbers using precision drone data is generating an extra 420 euros of net profit per hectare on average. That extra cash comes from nailing the harvest timing, boosting product quality, and pocketing huge savings from not overusing water and fertilizer. But why does this all matter on a grander scale? Because precision agriculture takes ecological sustainability, which usually just sounds like a nice marketing buzzword, and turns it into a highly profitable physical reality. We're using way fewer chemicals, we're not wasting precious water, and we're maxing out the usable yield from every single plant. As we wrap up this explainer, we really need to embrace this massive paradigm shift highlighted in our sources. Data is the new soil. The true foundation of modern farming isn't just the dirt under our boots anymore. It's the mathematics of photon reflection and terabytes of spatial telemetry. I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. If machines can essentially read the language of plants far better than we ever could, are we even really farming land anymore, or are we actually just farming data? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep questioning what you think you see, and I'll catch you next time.